I'm super excited to speak to my next guest, whose videos on social media have been seen more than 500 million times on various platforms. I'm referring to the prolific work of Stuart Reynolds, aka Brittlestar, who cleverly mixes comedy, music, tech, contemporary topics like mask wearing, as well as some fun Canadian stereotypes, all resulting in highly entertaining and family-friendly videos. Brittlestar, welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is great. Long overdue. I've been wanting to have you on the show for quite a while, and it was fun to meet you in person finally at an event, I want to say a couple years ago in downtown Toronto.
Yeah, took forever for us to meet in person,
There
didn't
you
it?
go. So why don't we just kick things off with who is Brittlestar? Is this Stuart Reynolds' alter ego?
I mean, kind of. Brittlestar, the name itself just started as a band name, and then I had all the socials and all the domain names and stuff when Vine came along and the looping video app, and then I thought, oh, I'll just stick with Brittlestar because it's easier to remember than Stuart Reynolds. And the Brittlestar character is a character, but it's kind of like an exaggerated, ridiculous version of myself. I described myself recently to an agency as, the everyman who's trying his best. So it's kind of like he's got his heart in the right place and he's trying hard, but he's a bit of an idiot. And I feel that that's just me. That's a slightly exaggerated me.
That's awesome. And I love how your videos, they are super down to earth. Like you're often in front of your suburban home, like on the front step.
Mm-hmm.
Your videos they're very accessible and relatable, I think, and really super entertaining. But what do you attribute your success to? So the everyman kind of thing?
Yeah, I do. I do sort of think there's kind of an element to that. That's a pretty important part of it. And I think I have this like weird aspirational quality for people in that I think that I have this, you look at my demographics and my audience, and I have this like spike from 18 to 24, and then it kind of disappears until like 45 and up. And I think it's really bizarre. And it's been great for me to get brand deals and stuff. But basically, I think that it's all the younger folk looking at me going, well, he's old and he's still having fun. Maybe I can be like that. And that's the aspirational quality there. And I think all the older folk are like, well, he's also old like me and he's still having fun. Maybe I can still have fun. So I think there's like that weird element to where people can kind of see themselves or people they know in the content that I'm creating, and they sort of feel like there's like this weird level of trust. Like they sort of think, well, he seems like a bit of an idiot, and he's honest about it.
He works on so many levels. That's
exactly.
Great. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah, but don't underestimate your talent. So you mentioned that you started on Vine,
yeah,
now defunct platform. Do you have a favorite platform? You seem to be everywhere: YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram.
Absolute favorite platform is Twitter currently. I know that for some people it's a hellscape, and I understand that. I think that once you start to notice, it's kind of like if you're walking down a city street and you notice some garbage and you're like, oh, now all I can see is garbage on the city street. It's kind of like that, but at the same time, I love the immediateness of Twitter. I love the fact that it's everything that's happening right now. I've got my home feed set to chronological, and which means that things are rolling in as they roll in, and it works best for my mindset as opposed to Facebook or Instagram, where I find it really, really frustrating that I'm kind of, or even TikTok, where I'm kind of like floating in and out of this algorithm, and I don't really have any control over when or if people will see the stuff I'm putting out.
Sometimes I see you as a guest on regular TV. Is it that you never wanted your own show on those traditional platforms and you prefer social? Like, is it because it's more measurable, more targetable, more intimate? You can post more often. There's no time limits. I think your tagline is the guy from the internet. So why the internet?
Yeah, well, I think that there's a couple reasons. Certainly when I was younger, because I'm no spring chicken. So when I was younger, I wanted to be on television, and one of the first things I wanted to be was a coroner. I was like, I want to be a coroner. And I remember my mom and dad going like, why? Why would you want to be a coroner? I was like, well, like because of Quincy MD, I'd have my own TV show. And they're like, you just want to be on TV. You don't want to like cut dead people open.
It's a means to an end.
Exactly. And then I found out that not all coroners have their own TV shows, and I was definitely out at that point. But I had done music for a long time and loved performing and all that kind of thing and creating and in general. And then Vine came around, and it was just kind of a real opportunity to kind of just do something I hadn't done before, like straight up comedy, like just try to make people laugh and smile. And it was so incredibly rewarding. I vividly remember meeting the very first person who said that my videos had helped them through a bad time. And I was like, oh God, this is really impactful. So, social to me is great because I've been self-employed essentially since I was 19. And I'm a good soldier when I need to be, but at the same time, I'm also like, I know how we can do this better. And even, I might not always be right, but the idea is I can decide when to do things and what to do and all that kind of stuff. And so I think the social media aspect, that idea of having this broadcast studio in your pocket is phenomenal. I think that was incredibly exciting for me to be able to be like, I want to be able to create something on the front steps of my house that will end up going out to the world. And that's really exciting. I can do that this morning, and by this afternoon, hundreds of thousands of people will have seen it. And that's super exciting to me.
I'm sure you do have scheduled things that you've written and you've planned and you're waiting to drop it. But then is it not uncommon that you just have an inspiration one day, you're in the shower in the morning and you have an idea for a song or a video or a little skit, and then you shoot it and post it that same day?
Here's my dirty little secret. I have some stuff that is sort of ideas that are half baked that have been kind of sitting around forever. Case in point, I've been working on the gritty reboot movie trailer for Mr. Dress Up for the past year and a half. I have all the costumes, I have everything ready, but I just haven't been ready to just to finish it and to do it. But my dirty little secret is that the vast majority of stuff that I create, it's usually like I'll wake up and I'll read something or do something and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to see how this lands later today, how people are reacting to this news story or this zeitgeisty moment. And then I'll decide if I want to, jump in to make sure it's saturated the market enough, make sure enough people know about it, and then kind of get into it from there and then create. So usually when I'm creating something, it'll usually be very reactionary. It'll be very much like I write down a whole bunch of thoughts about something, and then I kind of, mush that all together and form it as much as I can into something that's somewhat entertaining, and then film it and then edit it and then post it. And I don't really have, I was actually saying this morning to my wife, Shannon, that, I felt pressured yesterday because it was International Women's Day and there was this amazing tweet from Burger King UK, which was like sent people into a tizzy. And I was like, oh man, this is like ripe to make fun of. But, I can't prepare for that. I don't know how to prepare for things that are happening, and it was like that adds some pressure to me, and it makes it slightly uncomfortable sometimes, but sometimes it's great. Like sometimes I can run across things that happen in the news and be like, the Pickering nuclear generating station here in Ontario, Canada, which had sent out a false alert for a nuclear incident last January. And it's like within about 2 hours, I had a video out after hearing that alert. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and you just can't really plan for that kind of stuff.
We're chatting with Stuart Reynolds, aka Brittlestar. You probably have seen his smiling face on your favorite social platform. He mixes comedy, music, and like he's talking about right now, contemporary topics. I think your mask wearing video had done really well. Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
There's been a few actually.
Yeah. I kind of, those masks, I did a number of videos. The first one was reasons to not wear a face mask. And it was obviously
all tongue in cheek.
Yeah, very, very clickbaity in a sense. It was like people shock. Oh my God, I can't believe this guy's on the wrong side of science. And of course it was just a smackdown to all the stupid reasons to not wear a mask. So I mean, I felt like when the pandemic hit and it was really evident that it wasn't just going to be 2 weeks like everybody thought initially.
Right. We're going to flatten the curve.
Yeah, we'll just hunker down for 2 weeks, watch some Netflix, and we'll all be back to normal in no time. I felt when the pandemic hit, I was like, I have a platform, I have a voice. I think that there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of like people don't know how to process this. And I thought, well, if I can help by at least, showing some solidarity and sort of helping people sort of feel good about the decisions they're making about trying to protect the rest of their communities, then I'm happy to do that.
Here's a short clip of one of the songs that you produced, one of the videos from Brittlestar on Wear a Blanking Mask.
You say that taking your freedom away is what I saw you say in your latest Facebook post. I don't think you understand. Stopping your spit before it lands on my face is really what I call freedom. This just isn't some deep state plot to keep grandma alive. Of all the things that you could do that really hardly affect you, seriously, it's no big deal. Grab one, strap it on, just wear a mask.
That is just fantastic. I love that. But isn't it tricky though? Because you don't want to alienate viewers and draw a line in the sand where you know you're going to win some and lose some, you know, as a brand like Brittlestar. But obviously when you feel passionate about something, even though it could be divisive, you're good to throw your weight behind one opinion or the other.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, what's become evident to me in the past, you know, 4 or so years is that there's a huge difference between picking a side politically on policy or, you know, these sort of age-old sort of religious things or whatever, that type of stuff, compared to just right and wrong. Like it became more and more apparent to me. There's like, well, this is getting easier and easier to pick a side. I think also, as far as like, you know, concerned about the market and stuff, is that I think with all of my content, I try not to ever, I hope I never punch down. I always want to make sure that I'm kind of like holding something up. So I'm always on the side of the viewer. So I can hold something up and go, isn't this stupid? As opposed to holding someone up going, aren't they stupid? It is. And I think it's important to do that as well. And I think, you know, if you're looking to recruit idiots, you end up with a whole bunch of idiots. So I'm not really worried about it.
Talk to us about your Facebook show. You do that with Shannon, your wife, your partner, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. So we do a show on Fridays at 9:30 a.m. called The Morning Show Thing. And we've been doing it for 4.5 years now. It's a live stream. And it's got a really weird little cross section of fun people. It's very ridiculous. It's basically a kid's show for adults. It's a very, I mean, right down to, we just redid the intro a couple months ago, and now it's very similar to The Friendly Giant, which was a TV show here in Canada, and with like the drawbridge and all that kind of stuff. It's very inclusive, and it's like one of the great things about doing the show is that the community of people, they call themselves the TMST crew, is you get people from all over the world, you know, the US, Canada, the UK, Australia, Japan, that people tune in, Thailand. It's just sort of really weird group of people. But then there's been people who have actually like traveled prior to the pandemic, traveled to meet each other and meet up, which is hilarious. So you've got people who are meeting up and their only reason to meet up is the fact that they met by watching our stupid live stream. But it's fun. I mean, I love it.
That's great. And you might be considered Canada's darling, and hopefully Ryan Reynolds won't be offended by that. But, and you do, I see you get comments and likes and shares from all around the world. Is there any pressure in representing one nation? People look at you and they think, hey, that's a slice of Canadiana right there. No pressure?
Yeah, no, there's a little bit of pressure. I mean, because I think one of the things that's really important to me too, and one of the things that I think is quintessentially Canadian, is the notion that we can be proud to be Canadian and proud of Canada, and at the very same time we can say, but we've got a lot of stuff we got to fix. Like I think there's that's the balance that I want to strike, and especially being a middle-aged white straight guy, it's like I want to be able to say, you know, I'm happy with who I am, and I'm happy that I live in Canada, and I'm proud of Canada.
We're not perfect.
You know, the whole point. Yeah, the whole point of Canada is that we're trying to make it better every day.
Yeah, most of us.
Most of us, exactly.
I agree with that. Speaking of celebrities, like Ryan Reynolds, who I think has, if he doesn't follow you, I know he's commented, right? But you've heard from celebrities publicly and privately.
Yeah, no, I have. I've had a number of chats with Ryan actually over the past year, which is really, really weird. But he's been incredibly helpful. I've been doing some exciting work for a project that's developing, and he's been incredibly insightful and given good advice and really kind of helped, which is awesome, which is really crazy. I'd like to be on a phone call and the guy answers the phone, or the guy calls you and you say hello and he responds, you're like, yeah, I know that.
That's pretty wild. Is there one person that you would just love to work with one day?
I don't know. I mean, I've been really, really fortunate. I mean, I think for a long time, I really wanted to do something fun with Gordon Ramsay, which we did. We did a Canadian trivia versus cooking trivia, and that was really, really fun. And he was super nice. You know, like we spent a full day with Alan Thicke in California for Entertainment Tonight, making content. He was unbelievably nice, just hilarious.
Surprised about Gordon Ramsay being nice, but I guess that's his on-screen persona, right?
Yeah. Like he was just really, really friendly. He's incredibly busy, but we filmed this ridiculous thing where my son, who was 16, did camera, and we hired an audio man, Andy, to come in and help us. But apart from that, it was just like my family filming Gordon Ramsay. That's awesome. It was just ridiculous.
It's surreal almost.
Even for him, he said at one point in one of the outtakes, he's like, it's just you and your family. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of how it's been for the past 7 years. So yeah.
And it's a new way, right? And with probably more viewers than his shows combined, if you think about it. But anyways, let's not.
I know.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, Stuart, Brittlestar, any advice for those who are looking to follow in your footsteps? TikTokers, YouTubers?
I think you have to, first of all, you have to do something that you enjoy. You have to make sure that it's enjoyable for you, because you end up doing a lot of it, and you also have to be able to learn from what you're doing. So, I mean, if there's something that's your passion and it's for you, really exciting for you, that's great. You can share that. But if you want to turn that into a job, you have to be ready to be like, okay, I really enjoy this, but I'm going to have to kind of twist how I'm doing this a little bit so it becomes more, marketable or more enjoyed by more people.
This is all great advice, and I encourage our listeners to definitely check out brittlestar.com. This is the internet's favorite dad, with a little asterisk that says unproven. Love it. And you can then jump to all of your social platforms. And I encourage people to follow you, subscribe to you, share, like, comment. Keep up the great work. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. Thanks so much for everything that you do and for carving out some time to chat with me today.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.